All right, everyone, welcome back to Don't Limit God the podcast with another installment of 50 Shades of the Way, an individual's journey. Today, I have a special person. He actually hired me to be a personal trainer. And he said the deciding factor was that I made him laugh. So, you know, good, I guess. I have a great
Yeah, yeah.
personality, right?
You have to.
um, this person, I've gone to him a couple of times when I was still in personal training, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay. We had a couple conversations just about what I wanted and what it looks like going forward. This is my friend, James Hess. How are you?
Hey, I am great. Thank you so much. It's good seeing you again
Yeah,
and hearing from you.
it's been a
It's
while.
been it has been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, for the people that don't know you, give a little bit about yourself.
Man, well, again, my name is James. I've been married for 20 almost 21 years. I have two daughters, one that's 18, going to be 19 in a couple months. Man, I tell you. And the other one's 15. Seems like she wants to be going on 22. But yep, she's 15, freshman in high school. The other one is maybe a sophomore in college. I grew up in Texas and I've moved around. I'm in North Carolina right now. Uh, I played football for the majority of my younger days, starting from fifth grade all the way up to a couple years in college, and then ended up going the personal training route. And now I'm an adult ministry pastor at one of our local churches in the Raleigh-Durham area.
Okay. So, playing sports, how did sports guide your life? Oh, what was sports influence on your life?
Man, so sports influence on my life was, whew, we're going to go deep quick with this. Some of the stuff that I've learned, uh, so part of my journey is my dad left when I was about 8.
Hmm.
And as, as you being a father know, um, kids, especially boys, need affirmation from their dads to say they're doing a good job. Whether it's verbal, especially verbal, but verbal, nonverbal cues. You can look at your children and give them the look, and they know what's up. Or you can kind of nod your head, and they know. So we need, as children, we need that guidance. And with my dad being gone, and like I said, playing football since fifth grade, and that was right about the time he left. I found that affirmation I was looking for from the coaches.
Hmm.
So at that point, my body became an instrument to which I could inflict pain and hurt and just uh, treat with complete disregard to earn another man's attaboy.
Yeah. So,
So uh,
oh,
go
I was
ahead.
going to ask. So, would you say that playing football and what you were able to do to other people was really a reflection of yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the harder I hit somebody, the if I can make that ball come loose, then I got praised, and that's what I wanted. That's what I needed because I didn't have it. So, yeah, it was a reflection of who I was, who I wanted to be, what I wanted, and allowed and opened up this area of anger in my life that was able to be unchecked and almost even celebrated.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
All right. So
like I said,
then,
going deep quick.
so after sports ended, um, how did personal training come about?
I felt like I wanted to get into coaching, and I wanted to help. I just want to help people. That's something that God has put in me from when I can't remember not helping people. So when I started doing that, and I needed a part-time job as I moved from one big city to another in pursuing my wife before we got married, and I started part-time personal training, and I quickly found that I could make more money as a trainer than I could as a teacher and a coach. So I said, well, I'm gonna make some money. And from there, I knew what it felt like to be thrown into the deep end
Mm-hmm.
and go sink or swim. And I didn't want anybody else that was coming to our company, no matter what company I worked for, to feel the same way. So that quickly elevated me into a position of leadership with them. And 19 and a half years later, I ran the gamut on the fitness board.
Yeah. Oh man. So for the people that don't know, personal training is a very taxing, stressful job.
Yeah.
Uh, and so for me, it was the same. It was I wanted to help people, and I thought, hey, I work out. This should be super. It's in my walk, right? It's in my, it's in my
Yeah.
wheelhouse. I can work out and all this. So go to school, become a personal trainer, and then I realized, hey, man, it's a lot of stuff they don't tell you about the
Hmm.
balance and work and life. And for me, I can't do this. It's I don't know how to find balance, and I didn't know how to find balance in that. And so
Yeah.
I only trained 4 years, maybe total.
Okay.
Oh no,
Yeah.
not even four. No, I take it back. 3 years.
Hmm.
So how were you able to stay in the fitness industry that long and find that um, flexible balance?
Um, One, there was no flexible balance. I'll touch on that in a minute. However, the same theory applies to my life in sports.
Hmm.
I was no longer using my body to hit people to get affirmation. We would have a boss that come in, sell this much, and you'll be on the top of the leaderboard and we'll sing your praises. Oh, that's all I got to do is convince somebody to give me the money they got in their pocket. Okay, I can do that. So I learned that craft, and that's one of the crafts that they don't teach you in your personal training school. If you don't have any clients, you're not personal training anybody. In order to
Right.
get a client, you need to sell something. And that is a part of the job that not a lot of people like. And I embraced because I needed another man in my life telling me, good job, go do that. So I spent countless dates on my wife trying to close her on buying personal training, and she is the hardest sell ever. And she always said no. So I had to figure out other ways. Well, she said no to that. Why I keep on running into these roadblocks, and how do I go around it? And how can I ask better questions? And it always came down to having one objection. If I came down to the one objection and you couldn't afford it, and it was a true you couldn't afford it thing, then I exhausted all options and possibilities. I didn't want any. Well, let me go talk to my husband about it. I had to go overcome those early on. So I learned how to do that in order to get the affirmation from those bosses that dangled a carrot and said, "Hey, if you do this, maybe you can move up and you can have the nice car like I do, and the nice watch like I do, and the nice this like I do." And I'm like, "All right." So that's what it did, and there was no balance. There was absolute balance. As a personal trainer, we work when people don't, and most people work, you know, 8 or 9 in the morning till 4 or 5 or even 6 in the afternoon. So we had to be there before they went to work and after they came back from work. So I remember when we had our first daughter, and she was maybe 2 years old. I had gotten in an accident and was sidelined for a little bit. And I went to go to my cousin's house who was watching her, and I'd go pick her up, and she'd cry because she didn't know who I was.
Hmm.
I spent so much time away. I mean, I would get to work at 5:30, and I'd get home around 9:30.
Oh,
Kids are in bed,
yeah.
right? This was 4 days a week doing that. On the Fridays was a short day. It was only like 6 to 6, and then Saturdays didn't even feel like work because it was only like 9 to 12, 9 to 1, and it was 6 days a week. So there was no balance. And then Sundays, like, man, I'm tired. I'm just gonna rest. So, yeah, there was no balance. I didn't have it because I was the only one working, and I knew I was trading dollars for hours. The
Hmm.
more dollars I needed, the more hours that I spent trying to sell something, trying to train a client, trying to continuing the funnel of leads, appointment shows, leads, appointment shows, leads, appointment shows, so I could make the mortgage, so I could make the car payments, and then that. Hey, if you dangle this carrot, well, I moved up and now I need a nicer car, so that my car payment went up. So now I need to work more hours to pay for the Lexus and the Mustangs and all these other just traps
Yeah.
uh, that they are. So, yeah, no balance.
Yeah. So, did you ever find balance? At least
Uh,
that you accepted. Maybe not what you wanted, but you accepted.
well, I accepted all of it, really. I mean, I didn't like it. My wife understood. Uh, and then I did my best to carve out times and do stuff with the kids, but it still wasn't enough. It wasn't until I stopped working in the fitness industry. Well, I kind of worked in a church in the fitness industry at the same time.
Right.
With that, that part was so crucial to if you. This is my oldest daughter was in middle school, and if you know anything about kids, middle school, that time is where they're trying to learn who they are and what surrounds them. And we had moved from it seemed like 5, 6 years in a row. Every year we were moving to another spot, so we finally had some stability. And through it all, I knew something was going on, and now having additional time, but a $3,500 a year, $35,000 a year pay cut to go do this bought me the time, but it also, I believed, saved my daughter in the fact that she and I want to get matching semicolon tattoos, and it was during that time frame where if I wouldn't have been there, she might not be here now.
So, continue to describe that transition from going full time fitness and then transitioning to fitness, like part time fitness, but you're in the church, right?
Yeah,
And then now you're an adult minister.
yeah.
So, how was that
So
transition?
So the transition started as our local church opened up a new facility in the one of the local areas here, and they wanted to build a fitness center in there. So I said, well, let me look at finances and what would be cutting everything to the bone. What is this dollar amount that we need to survive and live off of to be able to do this? And in that, um, I asked some of the people that I knew here at the church because I'd been serving at a high level capacity with the church already. And when that came up, I had a conversation. I said, "Hey, this is that. I'm kind of interested. Can you at least get some background on what this pays, so I know if I'm going to put my name in for it?" So I'm gonna pause that real quick. This same time frame, my wife was saying, "Take me back to Texas. I'm done. I'm done here." We are the closest family member drive is about 12 hours away. Otherwise, it's about 22 hours from all our family. This is just one brother that's a 12-hour drive away. So there is no family here. So she's like, "Get me back to Texas. I want to go back to Texas." So I happened to look at Lifetime and find that they were hiring in that area, central part of Texas. And I said, "All right." So I sent in my application, went to the recruiter, and the recruiter was on vacation. And I'd been talking with the regional guy, the general manager, and some of the other folks that were there. And every single one of them had worked with me before and said, All we got to do is have this initial conversation with the recruiter, and you will be here in a matter of months. Perfect. All right, moving to Texas. So I remember specifically sitting down on my couch one morning before going into work. I said, all right, God, help me move. Help me get this family moved. Help me find a place in Texas and let this job thing go through. And he's like, okay, if that's what you want, you got it. However, I thought you said you want to get out of this rat race of all these hours you're putting in. I said, yep, I did. He goes, by the way, who are you putting first, me or your wife? I'm like, oh. He goes, if you trust me, I have something better for you. I said, all right. So I finished praying. I get on the phone. I call the regional guy. I said, I'm out. Family situation. I'm pulling my name out of the hat. Send an email to the recruiter who was about to make it in like the next day or so we can start that process, and said, I'm pulling my name out of the hat. So I drive into. I hadn't told my wife yet. My wife's still expecting us to move. I hadn't told her. So I get to work. Yeah, I put my cell phone down to go train a client. I never liked having my cell phone with me because I didn't want that to be a distraction for anything. So when I put it down, I went to go talk to this client, and we talked and came back to my office afterwards. I had a missed call from my friend at the church 15 minutes after I sent the email when I got to work saying, here is the salary range. And it was at that bare bones. I said, all right. So that bit of faith that I took, God showed up, stepped in right then and there and says, I got you. So a few months later, we go in, we have this interview. Again, when I'm coming from, been a general manager, a regional director, a personal trainer, personal training manager. So all these titles, this is what I know is I know business. So I walk into my first interview with the main pastor at the campus that was housing this gym. And I came in a suit and tie to a laid back church who's nobody wears suits and ties. So it was a culture shock for them to see. And then I'm like on point with like, okay, I'm going to do this. And here's very structured with everything. And then he turned around and eventually told me the story on, he said, no, I'm not going to hire this guy. However, every time he'd go to pray, he would hear from God say, this is the guy that I want you to hire. He's like, but I didn't like him. It's like, this is the guy that I want you to hire. It's not about what you think, what you see. So we ended up having another conversation about some things that I didn't answer because I'm walking in business-wise. Hey, you're going to open a business. I can run this business. I can create it from the ground up. And then they wanted to know a little bit about the relational side and those aspects. And I started to paint that picture. And then he said, that's what I didn't get in the first interview. So ironically enough, my hire date for the church I'm currently working for is July 4th. Independence Day is my hire date. And to walk in when like I maybe got a week off before, to like here's your 2-week vacation. First day of work is a vacation day, and the very next day that you come to work is a vacation day because it's a paid holiday right after that, something along those lines. And then you have 15 total holidays. I'm like, what's a holiday? Oh, you're like New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, Christmas Day, all the Thanksgiving. Like those are just days off. I'm like, we get those days off. What? Oh, by the way, you also get sick time. I'm like, what's sick time? I mean, I knew what it was, but it was only in theory based on what I did. So I just gained all this time, and then from there, so I went in and started. They said, well, what do you want me to do? He says, well, here is the space that you have, and here's your budget. Let us know what you come up with. And so I just spent a lot of time trying to figure out what that looked like and what are we going to do with it, how we're going to grow with it, and where we're going to go. And I just found better balance. I was able. Our church says God first, family second, then your job. So if I needed to leave to go pick up my daughter to go to school, they're like, okay, see you later, bye. I was like, what? Wow. So So that was interesting within that. And then from there, man, I tell you, it's, um, yeah, God just showed up.